overflow. Chris and Kat got that glow. Talking skills and chasing dreams. It's more than snakes, it's self-esteem. Vibes up and chatting, stories unraveling. Positivity's the spark, inspiring hearts, leaving marks. Lizards crawling through the past. Tales of triumph built to last. Failures flipped like shedding skin. They remind you how to begin. It's not just reptiles, it's a lifestyle. Vibes up and chatting, stories unraveling, positivity.
Oh, hi.
What did you think? That was also.
I'm watching it over on the tablet, and then I'm listening here, and I'm like, oh wow, that looks really good. I like it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Vibes Up Podcast with me and Kat. I'm Chris. That's Kat. We're just gonna wait for our guest to pop on. Right now, we're gonna run some, the sponsorship reel. We're gonna run the epic reel. We just got a lot of stuff and some affiliates that we gotta run. So enjoy the reels, guys. Let's run them. What's up, brother? We're running some reels real quick.
How's it going?
What's going on, brother? We're gonna run some reels real quick, and then we're gonna do our sponsor reel, and then we'll talk.
Hey, sounds
brother?
Great.
All right,
absolutely.
We're gonna run the epic reel.
Epic is back, bringing you experts in snakes, geckos, frogs, and spiders, and more of your favorite content creators. This exotic pet conference is free, and it's all online. Emily from Snake Discovery will be delivering our keynote address. You won't want to miss this event. Mark your calendars for September 27th at 1 p.m. Eastern. With 17 sessions across 4 tracks, Epic is the largest, most comprehensive event of its kind. Visit epic.live to see the schedule, our guest list, and more details. See you there.
See you there. All right. Now the sponsor reel. My bad.
No, you're good. No worries.
Lights come on, pulse in the air, we unite. Cold-blooded got 5 feet in the night. Cold-blooded caffeine, fueling the fight. Reptile crew got our backs tight. Thank you fam for keeping us all. CMB reptiles rolling with soul. Hold no soul, lifting our goal. Together we burn like burning coal. Elevate more fries in the show. Irresistible pythons letting it flow. Battery crew, yeah, but watch them go. Indigo, reptile coast, set the glow. Shout out feeders with shout out feeders. Under the rock with cold-blooded hitters. Ship your reptiles, make life better. South Bay reptiles through every weather. Blue tongue, Shama, blue tongue republic. Arc adventures, riding republic. No fakes, no breaks, we're here to publish. Taking it higher, dreams embellished. Sponsors love through beats we rise. Showing thanks met under the skies. Unite the world, reptile ties. Cold blood, warm hearts, no disguise.
All right. I like that.
What's going on? Nothing much. What's going on with you guys?
Not much.
Dritz, Chris, Dritz.
What's going
Nice to meet
on,
you,
Chris?
brother.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, I forgot. I got the new Flex Nation shirt and
Nice.
my fitness brand I'm trying to bring out.
Oh, sweet. What kind of fitness?
Uh,
Just
just
thing?
bodybuilding.
Oh, gotcha. Nice. Nice. Mostly like diet or like focus on workout.
I do. I don't. Well, I don't diet, so I just work out.
Good answer. Good answer. Pizza's too good to diet.
Well, I don't eat a lot of pizza or bread. I eat a lot of fish, chicken, beef. I don't eat a lot of bread. I really
So
don't.
like protein.
Yeah,
Nice.
but I'm gonna let Kat go ahead with her questions. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Kat.
Oh man, we're finally here to have the one and only Dritz to Urden from Underdark Inverts.
I
It's been
appreciate
a
the
long time
invite.
coming.
Yeah.
Yes,
Busy as always.
yes. So for those watching, please, Dritz, tell us just a little bit about yourself and then we can get on.
Okay. I mean, I've been keeping tarantulas my entire life. Everything about them is fascinating to me since I was a little kid. And as I got older, I realized that they didn't get much attention or love. And as I went into school and got smarter about insects and started to study them, I realized that they're incredible, and there's so much we don't know and learn every day. And then it turned into a passion of mine because, as you know, the community as a whole, whether it's reptiles or bugs or any exotic animal, it can be a volatile place to run a business, So it was kind of interesting for me to start focusing on, collaborating opposed to gatekeeping, and it just spiraled into this thing, this following, this understanding, this way of keeping, and that's basically in a nutshell what we do. That's what we focus on, is protecting the spider and sharing the love and the knowledge and helping people to not fear them. That's a big thing for us, is people who've never even encountered a spider before other than with a broom or something, to change their opinion to where they never look at spiders the same. And that's a big part of who we are, is sharing that they're just gentle and shy and nervous, not mean and scary.
Right.
So what made you choose spiders over like reptiles or geckos or anything else?
Well, I mean, since I was a little kid, I loved all animals. I mean, spiders kind of came along, but I was always that kid that was under the porch collecting bugs and lizards and frogs, and anything that was alive that didn't have a voice, I was interested in, to see what they do, why they do. And it was really easy to start to fall in love with bugs because they're so extremely unique. Most reptiles are all the same, and just in different little things, but bugs were so drastically unique, and so many of them were so completely different than each other. There's just so many different types of bugs compared to all the different types of snakes. And I know there's a lot of different snakes, but it's still a snake, but bugs, there's so many different types and things, and that was fascinating to me. And I was really interested in them mainly because of how perfect they are, like to the point where we make our buildings, we make the heavy machinery and equipment, a lot of it, hell, airplanes, helicopters, were all from ideas from watching insects and stuff like that. So it just made it fascinating to me that we knew so little about them. And I just started to really think spiders were amazing because to me, at a young age, they were like, stood out as like the caretakers of the world, Without spiders, there's no control, So I was also really big into books and stuff, and I still am. I love to read. But there was a story, about, Forgotten Realms, Dungeons and Dragons. And, not everybody's that big of a dork like me, but I read a lot of books about, magic and all that shit. And I started to read about books like, R.L. Salvatore from Forgotten Realms. And it was about a race of elves and stuff, and they worship spiders. And then the book just dives into the whole philosophy, the whole culture of what it's like to be a spider and why they do what they do. And it made me just completely amazed with it. And then I got my first tarantula as well, and that was kind of it. So my older brother, he owns reptile exotics and reptiles, so he does fuzzies and any other exotic, from kangaroos to coatimundis to ball
wow.
pythons to hognose, lizards, you name it. He specializes in ball pythons and morphotypes of ball pythons. But so I never really had to, spiders for me. Nobody wanted to do it. I already had a brother who was doing reptiles and everything else, and it was kind of like I didn't want to do the same shit as him. I wanted my own thing, and spiders are just one of those things, man. Everybody's scared of a spider. Why? There's no reason to be whatsoever, and that was fascinating. And here I am now. 30 fucking years later. It's crazy.
So now it became a profession for you.
Yeah, and so like I mentioned, my brother and stuff, when we were growing up, we had a rough life growing up, and we didn't really have much as far as the way of supervision goes. But because of our love of animals, they kind of kept us out of trouble to a certain extent, and they were also a sense of grounding. Because my spiders needed me. It gave me a reason to keep going and learn new things when there wasn't really much else that we cared about as kids. So that kind of became our thing. And my brother eventually got his shit together and started his own company, and it's Exquisite Balls and Exotic Pets. He's based out of Alabama, and he does all those states that touch Alabama and does shows, and he does real well with it. And he does a lot of collaboration stuff as well. So for me, it was spiders. It was bugs. But I don't like all the bugs. I think they're all amazing, but spiders, that's it, man. That's it.
Yeah, same. I wonder if he knows one of my friends. He's down in Alabama, 666 Serpents. His name is Nick. He's down in Alabama. He deals with ball pythons. So I wonder if they've ever crossed paths.
Oh, yeah. I can guarantee it. My brother definitely is into this. To the snakes, especially ball pythons. He's really into it, like I am with the tarantulas. So there's not many people in the ball python world that's working on the cutting edge stuff that he's not in touch with or works with. And I couldn't tell you because I don't actually know shit about reptiles. I mean, I know enough about them because I've been around them my whole life, but not on the level I do of tarantulas, on the scientific level and why they do what they do. And so we kind of have our own worlds and stuff like that, but he works with a lot of those guys and goes to the festivals and the events that they do, just like with tarantulas,
Yeah.
As you mentioned with reptiles, it's a very vast, way bigger than bugs,
Definitely. With your profession and all the expos that you've been to, so this show is about keeping the positivity up, no matter all the negativity that we see and that we go through with our profession and our hobby or whatever you want to call it. But have you ever encountered a situation where it was so impacted you, it impacted you so negatively that you just had to stop everything and be like, no, I'm gonna go a different way and I'm gonna continue to be positive and just stick it out?
Yeah, I mean, the industry as a whole, from 20 plus years ago when I started doing it at a professional level, has changed drastically. Like a roller coaster. You'll have this great acceleration and then you'll have this crash. You'll see people that have been in the industry for a while that come and go. I can name many of them. I'm not in the business of saying names, but there's quite a lot of people that were here 15 years ago that either X themselves out of the game or chose to just leave peacefully on their own. It happens all the time that you see people that have been doing this for a very long time. And, because of the way the world is changing and everything's coming digital, and I'm sure if you do expos like we do, you're starting to see already that, the expos and everything starts to fade away. There used to be a tarantula society in the United States when I was younger, and now there's nothing. There's not a single society like Europe has, not even close.
Yeah.
There's groups and followings on Facebook and stuff and different groups like that. And to be honest, I never even knew it was as big as it is because I was always putting all my efforts into Facebook, all my research, all of my breeding videos. We had, when we had our Facebook before they banned us for no reason at all, we had so many videos of male, female, the pairing, everything from start to finish, the egg sacs pulling, we established a database and, 17,000 followers, and we were putting all of our time and effort into that for at any moment for them to just ban us and take it all away, lose all of the content and cut you off from the community as a whole, so that kind of set us in a motion of self-preservation, I guess you could say, for our organization, because, most of these companies out here that sell spiders or inverts in general, it's a company owned by a person or another person or a partnership, and they have their employees or they don't have employees. But either way, they're different or not like the Underdark because, sure, I'm the owner, me and Becky are the owners of this company, but without our members, like we don't have employees. I don't have a single employee, but I've got hundreds of people that would do anything they could to help us succeed, and do that regularly, like go to the shows and are a part of it for a different purpose. You know what I mean? Like they don't come to me to buy spiders. They come to me and collaborate with spiders.
Exactly.
Most people get spiders for free from me because they are helping us grow and build our business. I don't have to pay somebody to come to an expo and set up our tables and do all that. If I had to, I would. But because of our business philosophy and our friendship-based collaboration as a whole, we do it together. I don't know if we did our first Palm Street, we had like 9 people here that were here on their own accord to help us and just to learn it all together. Let's do this together. Let's breed our spiders together. Let's produce them together. We can sell them into the community as sustained species now instead of imported, and we can all have them at prices we can start to all afford now. Yeah. And it's like, I get it. We're in this to make money. That's the point. But if you do it the right way, no matter what, you're going to make money.
Yeah.
Everybody's got bills to pay and stuff, but I find that this business starts to get tricky when you make everything you do based on your profits of it. I really truly feel that this is one of those industries where this can't be your bread and butter. If it is, then it needs to be on a level where everybody who's a member of it succeeds too, not like a boss with employees and, so that kind of in itself kind of shifted us into a whole different direction, so over the years, because once upon a time I was a vendor too, and I sold a lot of wild caught stuff in my days. 20 years ago, that wasn't frowned upon. Every spider we hold dear in the USA today that's well known came in that way.
Yeah.
Everything was imported once.
Yeah.
And it's what you do about it that makes the difference. Whether you keep importing them because they sell and just keep doing it like you see with regular Avix all the time. You can breed them so easy and we still import them. We're still yanking them out of the wild. Like what? Like that just seems nuts to me when they breed like rabbits. Like that's nuts, like how selfish of us, we're already blessed with how amazing they are. And we're going to just continue to rape their legacy as a spider. They're evolved for millions of years to do what they do. And we're just keeping them as pets, which is fine. And that's what we hope to try to change, is an industry standard of understanding. They're like, hey, you can make monies on spiders. You can own a pet store and sell spiders and sell them online and, be a big, huge company and do that. But do it sustainably. Like if you owned a tuna company and you fish the waters, which everybody's like, whoa, the fish. But if you do that sustainably, you can do that for years to come while protecting the animal in its native habitat. And there's no reason why we can't grow them on farms like we do for that purpose, like we do with rabbits, it's just the reason is there's not many laws or people out there trying to protect them because you have to go through all the lobbying and everything else, but you can't even begin to protect an animal internationally. Unless you know what it is first, you know what I mean? You have to know, they have to be identified. They have to be given a proper description before you can even write an article to try to get a law passed to protect them. Exactly. So a lot of these species are being imported as species this, species that. they're never going to get protected, because even if they were to seize them at the border, they don't know what that is. Neither do the scientists who discovered it. They call it this locale because they don't even know.
Right.
And that really just boils back to, it's because they're bugs. Nobody gives a shit about a bug that's bothering you in your house. You just squish it or whatever and move on.
Yeah.
You know, that to us is our mission. Is at expos, sometimes I don't even care if they buy a spider. It's like, you've never held one before? Wow, you've never. And people walk up with their arms behind their back and they're like looking like, oh shit. I'm like, you've never held one before? Like, you've never seen one up close and personal. Like, they're like, oh, they're just gross. They're crazy. And I'm like, well, let me show you something. And you take one out, and 20 minutes later, they're like, I'll never look at spiders the same again, you know?
Yeah.
And it's amazing when you see the look on a little kid's face who's like petrified, like almost in tears, because they're trying to like get over their fear, and their parents are pushing them to do it. It's like, hey, no pressure. Just trust me. Put out your hand. This spider won't bite you. There's no reason to do that. And the look on their face when they're done, it's like a kid who's scared to go on a roller coaster. But then when they get off the roller coaster, like, can we do it again?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's all just a misunderstanding. They get a bad rep because they're spiders. They're icky. They're gross. They're scary. And
At our last show, you had one of the most, this year, I think out of all the years, you had one of the most full packed audience. I was like, Dritz, what's going on? It was crazy. It was so packed.
And you know what what some of these shows has ended up turning into for us is we actually do well when we go with these shows with this mentality. Like, even if it's a small show, we're like, at the end of the day, it's a huge win if I walk away and there's 50 people in there like shaking their head like, wow, I can't believe I just held a tarantula before. You know, like, I get people that walk by just because they want to be like, ew, look at that. Holy crap, that's gross. But then they like see this 4-year-old kid holding a spider, like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then the daughter that's with that guy who was just talking about him being gross and nasty, she's like, well, shoot, you never held one? Well, come over here and try it. You can't. How do you know something if you don't know?
Exactly.
Like, it's like this. They've evolved for millions of years to be creepy on purpose. They want to be icky and gross to mammal type animals. They want that visual of like creepy crawly because it's in the form of like visual rose bushes with the thorns, you know? When you look at a rose bush, you see all the thorns, you're like, damn, I don't want to touch that. It'll hurt.
Yeah.
Dang, they've evolved to defend themselves that way. And it's natural human instinct to be like, ugh. You don't have to be a little kid doesn't have to be taught to see a bug and be like, ew, gross. But every now and then you'll see a kid who has no fear of like bugs because they haven't even been taught that they are bad.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? A lot of kids are taught from early age before they've ever even seen or touched one, like, ew, spider, fly, get it out of here, because they're imitating what they see and experience.
Exactly.
And I find kids of all ages and walks of life that come to our tables that have just been misinformed. You know, and then you get some people that are a 4-year-old little boy and they're like, I just can't even control. Every time he sees a bug, he's got to touch it and pick it up. And it's like, we're only here to this show today because he will not stop talking about buying a pet bug. And here we are. And I'm like, my favorite customer. You know, I've had people come up to the table like on the fence. They're thinking about a different pet. And it's like, I give them the rundown. They don't poop. They don't bark. They don't need walks. You feed them once or twice a week. Like, you can go on vacation and forget about it. Yeah. You know, they're tolerable to beginner mistakes. It's a great segue for a kid to start to have a first pet instead of buying them a dog that you end up having to walk and clean and take care of at the end of the day because it is too much for a kid. Spider's a good segue because if they lose interest, well, at least all you got to do is throw a cricket in there every now and then, you know?
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot required. And a lot of people don't even know those simple facts. And the parents hear that and they're like, oh shit, why'd you say that in front of my wife? You know, and then they walk away and they're like, well, we're just going to keep looking around. We'll talk soon. And then most of the time by the end of the show, they come and circle back around. They're like, is that one still available? I think we're going to get it.
Yeah.
You know, and then that next phase starts of, well, what do they eat? What kind of house do they live in? And, you know, anyway.
Yeah. Chris
Um,
had held one.
Yeah, I did to get over my feels because I used to be like, just squash them.
yeah, and it's
I,
only because that's all you've been taught. You know, they're all they are is you've been taught they're a pest. They have nothing good to offer. They can actually maybe even hurt you if they got close enough. Like it's like, well, what else would I do other than kill it or get it away from me? Not
yeah,
realizing the implications it has. You know.
Hmm.
yeah. Growing up, it was just like, oh, spiders. All spiders are bad. Just tell them when you see them. You know,
Yeah.
you don't know until you get to talking to people and
Yeah.
reaching out to people in the community, and then that's when I met Daenerys' mother of spiders at a expo, and they let me hold one. They
There you
let me
go.
hold Amelia
Perfect. Yeah.
tarantula.
And most people be like, "Oh, don't do that. It stresses the spider. They're gonna flick hairs. Clearly, they're stressed out." And I've always looked at it like this: there are some animals that thrive on stress. Let me give you an example of being like a cactus. They've evolved for millions of years to live in a place that's very, very famished. So they can go very long times, and sometimes that 3-4 month drought, and then all of a sudden they get rain. That stress, they thrive. I mean, hell, look at cannabis plants. That's the theory of growing good cannabis. They thrive on stress. It's a weed, you know. So same thing applies with animals. You know, like I find putting your rose hair in a box and never touching it or interacting with it at all, sticking it on a shelf in your house that stays around 70, 80 degrees all the time, gets fed once a week until it don't eat, and it's like that is the exact opposite of what this spider is used to doing. And that's why you'll see your rose hair goes 8, 9, 10 months without eating. They're like, I just don't understand. It's been a year since it ate. Well, it's because it's in bromation, man. It has been lying dormant since the last time it was fed to a pulp till it's full. This meaning the energy reserves are full. It's just going to wait it out until it's time to molt. And just like every other ectothermic animal on this planet, weather is the only way that happens for them.
Yeah.
So if they live in your bedroom at 65 degrees, 70, 80 in the winter or whatever, that isn't enough to cycle the spider naturally. So some species do well with that because it's like that where they live year round, you know, feeding. Those type of spiders react with food and moisture and what I call displacement, you know. So there's some spiders that are good for beginners and some that aren't, you know. They need more interaction. You can't put a hottie on a shelf and never take it out. Like she's just not going to thrive. They need to be displaced. That's how it works in the wild before they breed. The monsoon rains come, they're blown out. That whole tree might fall and hit the ground.
Yeah.
You don't think that's stressful? That's Mother Nature's way of making the best survive too. You know, like it's a whole machine. So the theory that to hold your spider is stressful, if you do it incorrectly, yes, you can hurt or injure the spider.
Yeah.
But if you follow the natures of laws that spider would live in nature, you can hold an OBT. You can hold a blue leg baboon. You can hold a Balfouri. I do it at my shows. I let people hold any kind of New World they want. If they just, in certain people, I'll let hold GBBs. Like I take them all out.
Yeah.
Like most people, I would never do that. But most of the time you go up to my table, I'm holding a spider that you would be like, whoa,
Yep.
don't they kick hairs? And I'm like, yeah, but why would they? I'm not breathing on it.
Exactly.
All it thinks is that it's navigating environment. That's it. And you can tell the spider if it doesn't want to go walking around, it'll just stay hunched up. You keep poking at it, it'll slap at you.
Yeah.
Not a good day to try to hold your spider.
Mm-hmm.
You open the container and she's on a walkabout already. And she's starting to climb out because if you keep enough tarantulas, I'm guaranteed that happens to you. If it hasn't yet, it will.
Mm-hmm.
Where one day they just come out while you're just, and they don't mean anything mean. They're just like, what the hell's going on out here? You know?
Yeah.
And that would be a great day to like hold your spider. Put it, you know, in following the safety rules of like how to not hurt your spider so it can't fall over a carpeted floor with a large space, catch cup, paintbrush, mask, whatever, you know, gloves if need be, if you're sensitive, maybe even safety glasses if it's a spider that you could potentially be injured from.
Mm-hmm.
Approach it with a scientific mindset and only give stimuli to the spider that they would naturally be able to react to. You pick up a cobalt blue and you start breathing on it or acting like you're going to squeeze or hurt it, you're going to have some problems on your hands. But you take a cobalt blue out, they're only going to be pissed while you're trying to get them out of their webbing, which is rightfully so. That's the only reason that would happen in the wild. is if a predator was trying to get to them. So they're going to react that way. But once they're out of there, into the catch cup, and you take them into an open area where it's still and quiet, and you let them calm down to where they're not still like in Kung Fu mode, and they set back down to rest, and you pop that cup open, and with a paintbrush you get her to come out, you can hold the cobalt blue, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of collectors out there who do TikTok videos, and they're holding. One of my good friends, Corey Brocken, will put a S-cow on his face. I don't recommend doing that. That's crazy.
Corey.
But
God, Corey.
you can totally do that if you understand the spider. Yeah, it's risky, but so is holding your ball python or pulling out the drawer to your reticulated python and it hits you in the face. That's dangerous too. But you also chose to keep these animals, so wouldn't you want to try to keep them in a way that they're going to encounter the world around them like they would in the wild? You're never going to do that perfectly in captivity, but understanding your spider and why they do the way they do is part of the fun of keeping them. A lot of people buy a spider because it's pretty and they want it to be out. They don't really appreciate the ones that live in the ground. Well, it's because you haven't been explained to why this spider's, what makes this spider badass. They do stuff that terrestrial spiders could never do. I don't know if you've ever seen a cobalt blues funnel that comes out of the ground and it just opens up and they're just like posted up on it. Rose hairs can't do that, you know, like that's special. You don't ever get to see your cobalt blue. You're feeding it too much. You're scaring it too much. Come down in the middle of the night when your cobalt blue is hungry, not starving, but keep them hungry. Yeah. And she will always be posted up like, rah, ready to go. And you'll see them all the time.
So remember when I told you I got that surrendered, those 12 tarantulas that were surrendered to me?
Yeah.
So in 5 years, I asked him, when was the last time they all molted? He was like, I don't remember the last time they molted, but it had to be about 5 years or so.
Oh, wow.
A month later, they finally all molted.
Yeah, he probably just never witnessed it happening. I find that impossible.
Yeah. Those was the position that kept them in. It was horrible.
Not to say that it didn't happen, but man, that would be like a science first. 5 years. Mm-hmm. That's incredible.
So, yeah, I rearranged everything. I gave them the proper substrate, water, everything, the humidity, everything. And they finally, well, some of them finally molted, look healthy. They're eating perfect.
Yep.
And I'm getting 2 tarantulas from Cat.
Yeah.
Oh, you have 2 of those?
No, I'm getting 2.
Yeah.
Oh, you're getting. What are you getting?
He's getting the Sazamai and the Brazilian Jewel.
Yep.
Oh, damn. Those are both beautiful spiders.
Yeah.
So here's one thing cool.
Trapdoor spider. I like the trapdoor spiders.
Trapdoor spiders are very unique.
Mm-hmm.
Be prepared to very, very rarely see it.
Oh, yeah, I already know.
But when you do see it, it'll be an moment, you know?
Yep.
One thing, too.
I like the gorgeous. That was the first spider I fell in love with.
Yeah, and it always makes you wonder, why would a spider need to be that beautiful? Yeah. What's the purpose of a spider being that gorgeous that hides 98% of its life?
Yeah. Oh, now you want a tarantula, Will? Yesterday, I had a game.
I want to see.
Yeah, so Dritz, yesterday I had a game show on my show, and the winner gets a tarantula from me.
Oh, cool.
I go, Will, you're disqualified. But anyways, now he's saying that he wants a tarantula. Okay.
So here's the thing. It's in my brain from when you mentioned just getting that collection, and that once you set them up and got them comfortable the way that their environment naturally is, a lot of them started to molt.
Yeah.
Well, to tap back into what I was saying a minute ago, that has a lot to do with the way, being an ectothermic animal, barometric pressure, moisture pressures, grains per pound, humidity levels, temperatures, all that has to do with what triggers these animals. Some species only molt when that weather cycle switches, like a bird flying south. When that fall time comes, that's when they bromate and lay down, hunker down. That's why it's easy to get Rockies, rose hairs, desert, arid species to be able to hunker down and not eat for so long, because where they're from, they do that naturally. But what brings them out of that is the weather starts to change. The food becomes more abundant. The rains come, whatever it might be for that species. But some of those species by putting them in a displacement setting, meaning displaced means that weather or a predator or something at that time of year, some animals only hunt spiders because that's all there is right now. They are willing to dig up holes and find these mean ass spiders because that's the only food really.
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of this displacement. Maybe there's like South Africa where they get flash floods and they need to flee and restart. Weather forces that. Nature forces that displacement, and it forces them out of their hunkered down state or whatever, their resting period, their cool down period for a lot of species. And they relocate, reestablish, do their molts, prepare for the warm season or whatever's coming, the food season, the rainy season, which then gets you fat and full and ready. You just had your molt. You're 4 or 5 months later, it's starting to become fall. Now the males start to crawl and hunt for females. Like, it's all on purpose. You know what I mean? So you can influence your spider and its behavior and its growth by the way that you keep it. You know what I mean? So if you keep your spider in a cool, dry space in your bedroom and you feed it once a week, every week until it stops eating, you can get a lot of spiders to go months without food. Even the ones that don't typically do that can go quite a while.
Yeah.
You know, a topic for another conversation or potentially another would be my personal theory. This isn't proven. This is just a theory of mine for many years and keeping them, and why horned baboons have horns. You know what I mean? If you look at their environment and they live where they live, and you look at what it takes to be a Darlingi in Zimbabwe of South Africa, you start to understand why it might be important to carry this mini little backpack full of nutritious liquid when you got to go 4 months with nothing.
Right.
Imagine that. And the only time you get prey is in a small window right before that plague of nothing. There's all kinds of bugs and locusts and everything else. So they gorge, and now she's ready for many months underground. Or wouldn't it be prevalent as a species to have the males crawling around right then? Because the woman's about to have to go underground for many months and hide and relax from the dry, no rain bake spell. That's a perfect time to hunker down, use your nutrients, be more likely to eat a male because food is scarce. So that's why some species are more likely to eat males than others, because of the environment and the fact I'm going to die anyway as a male. Why not pair with this last female and give her the nutritious snack she's going to need to endure these 4 months in South Africa with nothing? What a better time to hunker down, fat and happy, and just make babies and let them hatch out in the den. And then the weather and rains come and they displace, you know? And that's another theory too of mine, is why hammock sack laying spiders like OBTs, pretty much all baboons, except for a few like king baboon and Cameroon baboon, you know, excuse me, Gigas and Muticus. So they sew their sack to the wall. They don't carry a ball around with them. They actually make a hammock and they sew it inside of their den. And that's because at that time of year, they're triggered by flash flooding. At any moment, they could get a day where it rains for 2 days and it just pours, and that's the only rain they're going to get. But it floods that ravine and forces her to flee. And it's impossible to save your own life carrying a sack full of babies. So it's safer and more likely for it to survive, leaving it where it is safe and strapping it to the wall. You know? Yeah. And why they do what they do, that's a great example of why, you know?
Yeah. Chris, oh, he left. I thought he had another question for you.
Just hold on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so our next show is October 4th. Are you going to be there?
In White Plains, you mean?
No, Long Island.
Long Island? No.
You're not going there? Oh, okay. White Plains?
Yeah, White Plains is the farthest there. Yeah, that we'll do. I mean, we go to Pennsylvania, and you know, maybe we're looking at doing Maryland or something this coming year. But just because of my other friends that are in the spider game too, like Tom Patterson or Frank Soma, you know, Tom Patterson's partner Warren as well, and you know, Corey and Kelly Fornez even, you know, but you know, he's not doing it anymore. But they've all said the Long Island show sucks.
Really?
It's not worth going to, you know. Especially, and I mean it like this, because I don't live in New York. I got to travel from Massachusetts through all that and the tolls, the gas, the time. You know, it ends up making it not worth it, especially if you're going to vend at a show with OGs in the game already. Like most of the customers are going there anyway, you know? So, it's just not a big enough show for that many people on a competitive level without taking away from others too. Yeah. Like I don't want to go vend a show that's already got really cool OG spider friends there, you know, which is true about White Plains as well, but it's bigger.
Yeah, true.
You know, it's different. Like there's usually 7 to 8 spider vendors or bug vendors there, and I've never did a White Plains show and not did well. You know.
Right. I'll be at Gettysburg. Are you going to be there too?
No, not this year.
Yeah. Okay.
We decided we're not going to do Maryland or any of those this year. We were going to, but you know things changed, and we're not this year. We're going to try to do other stuff. You know. Okay. Right now, most of our focus is breeding.
Right. Yeah.
We're doing breeding collaboration projects that are near home. Yeah. We're doing a lot of collaboration visits. We've been making it a point to visit all our breeding friends that we can get to, you know, and work within their shop and our shop and focus on breeding, producing these species that don't get enough love, you know.
Yeah. Jason States says hi.
Hey, what's up, Jason? How you going, man? Glad you tuned in.
Yeah. Your boy Henry is doing really good.
Great. Tell us about Henry, his mission that he had.
Yes. He's made 2 sperm webs, and he's mated with Helena twice.
Nice.
And he's still kicking. He's running around, and I might breed her again. I don't know. Depending what you say. What do you think?
So that's something else too that there's no definitive proof on of when a female is paired. When is she paired good enough, right?
Yeah.
So there's some species that you pair, and it's only worth really pairing them once, especially if they get it good and right. And you'll know when your female's been paired because she ain't gonna want nothing to do with it the next time you try.
True.
The whole reason people say pair the spider twice is a couple reasons. One is it's foolish to think that a female is only going to encounter one male in the breeding season. It just, you know, like it's just very unlikely. Like she's going to encounter multiple males possibly. Which one? And it's like, oh, does she like him or not? Or that could be another thing that we don't understand. But also, you know, why does the female select the male she likes? You've got 2 males. She wants nothing to do with him, but a week later she pairs fine with this one.
Yeah.
You know, something else that we pay close attention to is why they have the rituals they have. And when you've bred all the species, you start to realize every single species has their own way of doing things. Mm-hmm. And even inside that same species, you'll have specimens that do things a little different as well, like males that don't tap, males that just run right in and pin her to the floor, males that run around scared to death for weeks before they do anything. And you're doing the same thing with each male. It's not like you're changing your procedures, you know? So over time, I've learned that some species, you don't need to pair them twice. If you get a good insertion and it's visible and the male's running for his life afterward, or sometimes they walk away freely. You know, it really just boils down to your female. Yeah. What were the circumstances that she was bred under? Example, meaning, did you actually see an insertion or are you not sure? So
I saw what.
Yeah, feed him again and then see kind of what's going on, you know, and when you put the male back in there, sometimes the male is already going to be like, forget that. And he's already trying to find his way out because he's already paired that female, you know, her pheromones on the webbing is an indicator to him. That's why the males tap. Yeah. And that's why some males, it may not be the male. He may not be tapping because she's not releasing pheromones on her webbing. And that all boils down to another reason is the conditioning part of your females. Did you trigger her for the breeding season for her to be like, yeah, I'm ready to breed? Because if not, she may not have levied any webbing with pheromones yet because she doesn't even know it's breeding season. Yeah, you know, so sometimes putting a male in there to let them tap, and she turns out to be like, food, rah, she wants nothing to do with breeding, that alone in itself might be enough for her to be like, okay, the stimuli of males starting to do their run is enough to trigger her, and she might pair the next time, you know, feed her a little bit. Or you put her through the conditioning, which I call, can be really easily misconstrued. Conditioning isn't just one thing. It's mimicking her natural environment for that time of year to trigger her, like flying south for the winter.
Yeah.
How often she's being fed, how much moisture she's being introduced to. Some females lay by being triggered by the environment.
Yeah.
Some females lay after being paired so many times. Some females don't need all that shit. They can pair once and she is ready to go. She's actually just waiting on weather now. And they have all spiders have different gestation periods, which they've evolved to have based on the environment they live in and how long it takes for that next season. You know what I mean? So species with longer gestation periods, it's probably because they go longer without food. It's harsher. Or when they are born, they stick together. They don't fan out like, you know, salmon bird eater, you know, Lasiodora parahybata. When they hatch from their sac, they just explode like sea turtles. You know what I mean? Balfours hatch and they stay with mama. They'll actually ride in her fangs until they're ready to feel safe. You know, they tolerate each other because there's a much harsher environment to encounter. There's success in numbers staying together instead of success in numbers like sea turtles making a ton of babies and fanning out. Species that don't stick around the nest lay a lot of babies. Species that lay little numbers stay very close to home, and that's for a damn good reason. You know what I mean? That's because the environment they live in can't sustain a little baby spider very easily. Not until they start to get a little bigger, a little more experience, start feeding on different prey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some females feed their babies. They catch a cricket and they drop it, and all the babies just climb all over it, you know?
Yeah. With
And
your
that has
last
no, go ahead.
with your last Palm Street, your what's it called? The discourse that you gave, I took notes, and so far with what you said, it looks like she's doing something with it because she's digging everything out and she's digging like a deep hole. I gave her enough substrate and it looks like she's doing something. She's webbing, so let's see.
Yeah.
Why? Is she pregnant or something?
Well, she's been paired. So since you brought that up, here's a good topic to kind of talk about. Is what's the difference between a paired female and a gravid female? There's no way to really know that. You'll hear the term sometimes, well, did you torch her? Did you flashlight her? Did you shine her flashlight on her abdomen? Is it glowing yellow? Some spiders are going to glow yellow no matter what. Their hemoglyph is yellow and off-white anyway, you know, so it's not a solid thing. A lot of it has to do with the spider's behavior. And that's another reason why pairing twice isn't so much to make sure she got paired. It's to find out if she got paired. Because if a female wants nothing to do with pairing anymore, now it's time to start conditioning her to do her nesting behavior. Once she's been paired, now she needs to nest. And that's, in other terms, called the gestation period. Now she's going to start creating these eggs. That way, when she lays them, they pass through the sperm packet through the spermatheca organ, right? So there's this down period. There's this cool down, or whatever the species thing is. Like for Pamphos, it's cool and dry, or depending where the spider's from, it might get hot and wet, like South African spiders. Any spider that lays a hammock, their trigger is heat and lots of water, tons of vapor pressure. And that tells them that the floods are coming. I need to lay this sack and sew it to the wall before I get washed out.
Yeah.
Okay, so once you pair, now you begin the cycling. You know, you continue in that. Your feeding schedule, your temperatures and environment, moisture levels, grains per pound, relative humidities. None of that stuff truly matters much when you're just keeping it as a pet. But now that she's been paired, you want to trigger her to start nesting. And that could come in the form of lots of misting, tossing moss around, displacing her enclosure a little bit, maybe even removing her completely and rehousing her, which is true displacement, which forces her to be like, oh, reset. You know what I mean? Which triggers some species to molt, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Others, it triggers them to lay a sac. Like Flamingo chilus, that is the trick to getting your Flamingo chilus to lay a sac. soak the shit out of it, mist it every day, toss moss in there so it's all over her web. She has to remove it to like make it nicer. She'll start incorporating that in her web, and then she'll start this nesting behavior of preparing herself for the heavy winds and high rains, high temperature changes, variations of that rainy season coming. So she fortifies her house. That's signs of nesting. Her abdomen should be getting fatter and fatter. She should start coming out less and less. And that tells you, okay, she's starting to do her nesting. And if she molted before your breeding cycle, before you started the pairing, I mean, you shouldn't be worried about a molt coming. No. Because if you hadn't paired her and she started this nesting behavior, she's probably getting prepared to hunker down pre-molt and molt soon because she didn't pair this season. By pairing her and doing the same cycle, she's going to be ready to gestate this time. So now she's going to be ovulating and making eggs. You know what I mean? And getting your female to ovulate and be receptive is the number one step of conditioning. That's how you get her ready to breed. You don't want to take a female that's in bromation that won't even eat and try to pair her. You know what I mean? You need her to be coming out of the cycle into the breeding season, pair her, and continue that on into the nesting gestation window, and then she lays her sac. Then you have the incubation part where she cares for the egg and waits on that season to come when her babies will hatch. Some species do that underground because even once they hatch, it's not time for them to go into the world yet. They need to still stay with mom for another month or two. They'll molt a whole nother time. Maybe she catches an earthworm down underground. And that's another topic too. People are like, man, my spider never comes out and she's not eating. She's holed herself in and she just doesn't want to come out. And it's a lot of those spiders encounter food while they're digging. They don't come to the surface all the time for a cricket because as they dig their tunnels and do their nesting behavior like they would do in nature, they're encountering grubs, ants, and other beetles and different things, and they're eating that whole time. Maybe even ate the male because they are in an area, and that's why a lot of Asian spiders are more aggressive towards the males. It's because they're about to be down underground where there's no food. Unlike a tree spider who's in the tree is going to be encountering flies all the time. Yeah. You know? You're more likely to be more hungry. Or like an African spider who's going to be more hungry because there's less food, you know? So that's another reason in itself. But so in your instance, she's been paired. We know it. We got it. We watched it multiple times. Yeah. She's starting to hunker and dig and lay some webbing and stuff like that. Yeah. Follow that world weather guide and her conditioning into that next season. And then you'll start to change that weather, and whether you feed her more or less, depending on the species, she'll really start to hunker down. She'll start really webbing out a mat, and then you'll know that the laying time is like inbound. Okay. You know, and that's usually about a week or two right before she lays. I've had girls lay this huge hammock and sit in it for a whole week before she lays. But you'll know it's coming, and the fact that you already see behavioral changes in her after the pairing, very, very good indication that she's been paired, you know, and or successfully, you know. Okay. So now it's just the waiting game. Yeah.
So do you want him back?
I mean, of course, if you don't need him, but feel free. And that's another big part of what we do at the Underdark is to continue him on. Yeah. The friend of the Underdark that gave us that male gave us the ability to do what we see fit. And that's to only push him on further. All we want to do is get him to breed with as many females of friends that we can, produce as many of the babies as possible, and try to establish a sustained population. There's very few sling stermies out there that haven't been imported, you know? Yeah. And when I mean imported, doesn't mean wild caught, you know? A lot of species get imported just because nobody breeds them. Nobody's got them. So if you're going to place an import order to Europe somewhere, why not order a bunch of species nobody's got while you do it, you know? Even though we have full capability of producing them ourselves. It's just easier, and nobody's got them, so why not, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited, and I hope he gets to, you know, bring down his legacy, if you will.
It's a hard species to produce, not to be discouraging, but getting the environment exactly correct, humidity, temperature, a lot of it has to do with how damp it is and at what temperature, because the larvae inside develop under certain conditions. So if they don't have the conditions just right, they'll develop at a retarded level, like a late growth, like their development will be retarded. So, and that doesn't mean like the spider did anything wrong. It could be because you were that particular 2-3 days when it was the most important, it got a little dry or a little too wet, and they don't develop correctly or whatever. So that species, and that's another reason why they're not produced often, is because it's a very short window that they can be messed up. You know what I mean? Once she lays the sack, within those first few days, if it's not just right, she will already know it. She might even just eat the sack, or she just lays it and doesn't do anything with it, or and they, like I said, she'll know based on the conditions, the same conditions that would tell her it's breeding season or not. Like she can tell like something's not right, because sometimes naturally, like in nature, like anywhere else, you can have windows of weather cycles, meaning for the last few years in New England, we've had very little snow. It's been cold as shit like always, but we haven't really had much snow. We kind of get it every couple years, and then it just dumps it, and we get feet and feet and feet of it, you know?
Yeah.
So like anywhere else in nature, she could have paired, everything went right, but then this season, they just don't get the rain that we were supposed to get, or we don't get the conditions that we were supposed to get. And what happens? The sac doesn't develop. And that particular season, there was very few successful egg sacs produced. So for the next year or two, you're going to have a much smaller number of males coming into maturity. A lot of things can factor why they have an off season or not. And in captivity, that's really hard to do because you don't really know what's going on down there in that foot of dirt, you know?
Yeah.
One thing I've seen people do that are really serious about that is they buy those thermometer hygrometers with the wire and the sensors on the tip of that.
Yeah.
When they build the enclosure, they run that wire down in there so it will be down in her den. And it gives you the temperature and humidity and grains per pound down inside her foot of earth, because it's going to be a lot different than it is in the room the spider's in.
Yeah.
Because not only that, she's enclosed in an enclosure. Mimicking nature in a plastic tote in your room is a lot harder to do with Mother Nature taking over.
True. Yeah.
Like trying to grow a flower in your kitchen or just putting it outside on your patio and letting nature do it, you know?
Yeah. But that's a good idea.
That particular species is really tough. And if you live in an area, and that's why I find some people do a lot better with certain species, like friends of mine that live in New Mexico or Arizona, or they have different success with species that we tend to fail with. One, because of elevation. Yeah. Two, because of temperature and geometric pressure when it rains, and barometric pressures, all that stuff affects these spiders. Like you got a spider that's from the highlands, like it's nowhere near the same as living in Baja California or something, you know, like it's completely different. And this spider's not going to have as much success with breeding or cycling the same, because it's in captivity in a whole other part of the world. They don't need to be outside to know that the moon's out. They can feel it like the tides of the ocean. You know what I mean? Just like animals can. They know how to fly south without a compass.
Yeah.
They have an internal ability that humans don't, you know? So my personal opinion, it has a lot to do with that, and why you see certain species that are very common in the hobby, like Sturmy, but you see very few people breeding or producing or wanting to work with them, because a lot of the people who have or do work with them, there's a lot of failure involved. There's way more loss than there is success. And that's a big turnoff to people who are doing this for bill money. You know, like I'm not in this to fail. I'm in this to have spiders to put on my table and pay my power bill, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's easier to just work on species that are easier to produce and that sell as well, you know? Yeah. So there's not a lot of information or knowledge out there about these certain species too, because there is nobody trying to figure it out, you know, and we just keep failing, and we're like, this must have been the spider. But a lot of times it's not always the spiders, you know? You can have a completely successful sac and have ools and everything, and you mess your incubation part up, and now you got slugs, you know, when everything was perfect at first, you know?
Yeah.
But you and I can go over like you and I can go over like my notes and like what I do differently for, you know, Theraphosa in general. But they're finicky, man. Not easy to produce.
People live their hairs too.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Rhonda from that she goes everywhere and she
Yeah, that's tarantula fairy. Yep.
yeah. Hi Rhonda. So I had on yesterday Dylan, um, Eight Deadly Sins.
Oh yeah, I know Dylan. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Never met him, but he's a good guy.
I had Ari and Jesse the week before.
Yep, I know them.
Yep. So they all say hi.
What's up? What's happening?
Chris, did you have any other questions?
Man, I was just listening. I didn't know that much about what he was talking about. I'm just learning.
Dritz is the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
I was just
Yeah,
like, what can I ask this guy? Because he like answered every question that you could throw out there.
He's very knowledgeable.
You know how I got to this point is because I asked questions too, and for many years too, nobody wanted to help. You know, once upon a time there wasn't even social media, man. Nobody gave a shit. The only way to really meet people and do that was to go to expos or join societies like ATS or BTS, and then social media came around and it made it a lot easier to like communicate and talk with everyone. You know,
Yeah.
and
I agree.
it's one of those things too that I learned a lot of it from books. A lot of it's just from trial and error, you know, and just from all the, education and schooling stuff. It's a lot of it's just kind of common sense, knowing the environment, working with the spiders in general, and knowing where they're from and why they do what they do.
Yeah.
Rhonda
says you're a fabulous teacher.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I know, right? I'm a student too. I was just like,
just ramble. I'm really bad about that.
Yeah.
bro, you rambled for a whole hour. No, I'm joking. You're good.
I know I do. I've done
podcasts her little
questions. I'm just passionate about it, and I want to share it with everybody. I don't gatekeep anything.
Exactly.
I don't even use that term. Anybody could ask me anything about spiders, secrets I do, or what I do. Trade would be considered trade secrets for this species. Like if you're able to conduct it and do it, great. My only goal is so that the species has the privilege of living on forever.
Yep.
If you want to sell them and make money on them for a living, great, do it. At least like do it for the right reason.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of all it is for us, is just sharing the information, sharing the education. Everybody should have access to it. I grew up my whole life wishing these answers were given to me. I had to like learn them or eventually get taught them or read them in a book somewhere. And by doing it this way, it gives somebody everything that I would know, you have access to know too now. And together we can keep moving forward on other things, opposed to you spending the next 5 years trying to learn all the stuff I've learned. I can just teach it to you, show you, explain it to you, and we can move on now and do other cool shit.
Yeah.
Like no need to gatekeep it all and wait the next 10 years for this person getting into the hobby to get up to my speed, or whatever. I can just answer all their questions and teach it to them. And now we're up to speed. We can finish the show together.
And you said you had Discord
the whole time.
Yeah, he has a Discord.
Yeah, so that's all it is. It's just trying to share it. If you want to know, I'm happy to tell you. I tend to ramble too much. Most of the time it's like, okay, next topic. Shut up, please.
Nah, you're good. Nah, you're good. I do have a question though. So if you could change one thing in the hobby / industry, what would it be and why?
Say that one more time. I missed it.
I said if you could change one thing in the hobby / industry, what would it be and why?
I think at the end of the day, the one thing that I think would be cool to change would be the understanding or the standard practice, the industry standard of why and what, or why and how we keep tarantulas.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been this brainwashed thing that's regurgitated of enclosure like this and that, sponge in the water dish or whatever the facts, it's like, I wish that I could change it to where there is none of this regurgitated incorrect information. And it all boils down to just nobody trusting or caring about the process. Having a place that you can go where it's all like-minded people, where, nobody's giving the right answers, all trying to learn them together. And it's like a scientific based study for anyone. You don't have to be a scientist to be a part of the group. And what tends to happen in these Facebook groups and all these groups is you've got these people who are like experts, you got people who are trying to become one, and you get this combativeness of disagreement. And it's like, that's why we can't move to the next step and be like the rest of the world in the insect world, is because nobody wants to share, nobody wants to listen, or nobody wants to try to be like, wow, damn, that didn't work. What'd you do? Oh, wow, okay, I'll try that. Opposed to keeping it secret and being like, yeah, you shouldn't be asked those questions. You should have did your research. Well, isn't that what we're doing right now? We're trying to. That's what I wish would change the most, is the understanding, like the whole philosophy, the whole principle of keeping, and why we keep tarantulas, opposed to it being this cool, pretty thing,
Yeah.
Which they are.
You got non-arachnid people interested, like Python Portal will. He's very interested.
Yeah, and that's all our mission is to spread there's so much unknown about bugs in general, not just spiders. There's mantis people, there's centipede people, there's so many amazing bugs. But as far as tarantulas go, a lot of it has to do with it's a misunderstanding. Everybody fears what they don't know. So of course, if something's creepy looking, it's gonna stay that way unless you strive to understand it better.
Yep.
Why they do what they do, and that's it. We just want people to be able to fall in love with them too. Oh, and you want to buy some? Cool, I can help you with that also. But first goal is just sharing the amazingness. And I find if you do that, the money comes. The following and the people and the understanding come.
Yep.
Showing the love and being the voice for the spider that can't speak is what I'd like to see change the most. Okay.
So where can people get a hold of you?
So I was on Facebook. For many reasons, we chose not to get back into it as of yet. Just a hiatus from it. But Discord, YouTube, Palm Street. You can still reach me on Facebook. You can go in most of the tarantula groups and be like, hey, I'm trying to get in touch with Dritz. And there'll be many people that can point you in the direction. But our main platform right now is Tarantula Addicts. It's a huge group run by Annabelle and Noe. Good people that are in the spider, bug, all of it in general, with Reddit and everything else. And they host a space for us called Underdark on there. And, that's where we hang out. That's where we talk. That's where we trade. That's where we post pictures of projects we're doing. All the people that do collaborate with us know that's there too. So we can send you a link, and then you can join and you be a part of the Discord group as well.
Yeah. So everyone, you can just contact me, and then I'll pass it over to Dritz. And
absolutely. Yep.
That'd be cool. Yeah. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, totally. And we're always down to, talk and share the knowledge. So it doesn't have to be a customer. That's what a lot of people fail to remember about all that is, you don't have to buy a spider from me to be a part of the Underdark. We can collaborate and breed, or we don't have to do any of that. Even just, somebody that's got the boy we need. That's all. So you just want to learn how to breed that species. You don't have to buy any spiders or sell any or bring anything to the table. You just want to learn and continue and grow that process, So Discord gives us the ability to do that without Facebook police, without AI. We can talk about selling them and doing whatever we want and breeding them, collaborating. There's no fear of being booted or banned because you mentioned selling a versicolor wholesale. Like I got banned from Facebook for In Arachnids Classified, which is a group for selling tarantulas. And I didn't even put price, nothing. And there's people on there that post all the time, prices and trade this and that and blah, blah, blah. You see it all the time on Facebook, and they don't get banned. I never had a single infraction, never ever been reprimanded once for anything on Facebook. I had a professional dashboard of 17,000 followers making $400 a month with all my content across their platforms. Never had a problem with it for years, many years. I make one post on Tarantula Classifieds or Unclassified, whatever the hell the group was. And I just put versicolor WS, meaning I got versicolor babies hatched for wholesale. I wake up the next morning and I'm completely banned across the entire Facebook platforms, all of them, Instagram, you name it. And no reason, other than you're dealing in contraband that we don't allow for the community, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, well, that's retarded because this guy just got a 3-day ban for putting a price tag symbol after the tarantula's name. And you're going to ban me for that? Like, that makes no sense. You didn't get it warning, nothing. And then I asked for a review and through the Meta AI, and then, yeah, like not even minutes later, they kick it back. They're like, yeah, you sell, illegal animals, which is like,
No.
what about all the people who are on there actually scamming people, selling tarantulas with ads? How many people do you see in groups that post price lists even all the time? Makes no sense whatsoever. So that in itself, and then the fact that they just took everything, the contacts, all my messenger information, which was a huge database of everybody we spoke to and collaborated with, and just cut us off completely. Nothing left. And it dawned on me at that time, shame on me for like thinking that like giving Facebook all that power over us, like in our community that we've worked years to build. And that for me was a shift to where it was like, you know what, like I'm not going to give Facebook that opportunity ever again. If I use Facebook, it'll be a post of this or that down the road. Like I don't even need Facebook really because of what we do in Underdark. Like the following is there. You don't need Facebook to have a tarantula following. It just helps to reach the people.
Yeah.
You know, I will say that, but as our world keeps growing and changing, as you see, there's so many other platforms like this podcast. There's YouTube. There's TikTok. There's the Discord. And I mean, the Discord group that we're in now, there's 100,000 people through the whole thing, and Reddit, and there's exotic animals. It's not just tarantulas. So tarantula addicts, you know, is a lot of tarantulas too, but all walks of life, vendors from all over the country, breeders, and it's just like a community that way, and it's just worked so much better. I've been able to stay in touch with everyone that way, and I will never not do the shows. And you know, fortunately, you know, our reputation, you know, whether Facebook's here or not, everybody knows where to find us. At least the ones that were already working with us, you know.
Yeah.
Jason,
and you guys rock.
Yeah, and as of right now, where we're at now, it's like more than enough. Like I barely have time to do anything. I'm like scrambling with all the collaboration stuff we do and partners. Man, we got egg sacs popping all over the country. You know, like we had OBT babies come all the way from North Dakota today. You know, along with another male, and it's just they're always going out. They're always coming in. So like we got way more than enough anyway to be worried about trying to get this huge following on Facebook again. You know, like when that happened on Facebook, it actually didn't really affect us in any way as far as our operations day to day. One thing it did do was make it a pain in the ass to try to reach everybody.
But that's why we have you now on this live, so people can now know where to get a hold of you, and they can contact me to get to you, and now they can get to you directly. Absolutely. There we go.
Yep.
It's been a pleasure having you, though.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I appreciate you guys, and I'm always down to talk and do this stuff and create the awareness, and absolutely appreciate it.
I'm sorry, making all your people blue that were in here.
There's a lot of people.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in here. Making them moderators. I just want to shout out everybody real quick though. Like before we go, I want to shout out everybody in the chat.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we got Will from Python Portal. We got Morph Avenue, Mike the Ball. We got Marshall Beck, Jason State. Thank you guys. Rat Bastard Royals. Thank you, man.
Mark.
We got dang it, I forgot her name.
Mitzi?
No.
Oh, Jules.
Jules, there you go. We got Jules. I haven't talked to her in a minute. And we got Adrian. Thank you, Adrian. Mission Morse. More Valley Reptiles. That's Ryan.
Oh, Dritz, the guy that I was telling you about.
Shauna.
He's on right now.
No, that's what's up.
Nick, you have a fan. You might have a fan down in Alabama.
Exotic World of Geckos. Thank you.
So like I said, it's probably likely they vended the same shows. He probably knows my brother. I'd be surprised if he didn't, if he lives in Alabama.
Oh, and Brian. Brian. Oh, look, 666 is here.
Yeah, Nick.
That's what's up.
But yeah, before we get on out of here, man, say one positive thing for the people watching.
Okay. As far as for bugs go, I would say, just remember it's about the spider. Having the next coolest one that's coming in isn't always the way to approach it. If you love your spiders and you do it the right way, and you collaborate with, groups and communities like this, you can obtain any spider you want and never have to pay for a spider again. By collaborating and raising spiders together, getting the males in the hands of the people that want them, there's really no reason why you should ever have to buy that dream tarantula. You can do it through the community by sending off those slings that you got and you were hoping for a female. Send those boys to the right people, have them produce babies, and you get handfuls of them back. If not, sell those and buy the spider you've always wanted. Don't let it burn you out. Don't rush into getting all these new species and stuff. You got plenty of time. Spiders aren't going anywhere. They'll be here when we're all dead and gone, like they were before we got here, So,
True.
yeah, just remember that and enjoy them for how beautiful they are. And that awesome, badass one is not out of grasp. There is hope.
Well, what do you say? Will, you're a hater. Oh, I was like, what? But other than that, brother, I appreciate you for coming on. Thank you for taking time out of your day to come on the podcast and everything.
Absolutely, always. Anything for the tarantulas in the community.
Exactly.
Yeah, everybody's liking the show. Vibes up.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
This was a good one for you to come on. I heard you were sick. I'm glad you're better, brother. Appreciate, like I said, for you coming on.
Yeah,
But,
it's awesome.
Other than that, what you got anything else, Kat?
Everyone, please go subscribe to RWO Crew. They have been a great support for our network and everyone in the tarantula community down here in the East Coast. We're all together. We're all supportive of each other. Please go support Dritz at every show that he goes to, that he vents to as well, at Underdark Inverts. And we'll catch you in the next episode, right?
Thank you, guys. It's awesome. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Remember, check on your loved ones, pick them up, never put them down. They're, tell them you love them. You never know when they could use that. Just stay positive, guys. Lift each other up. And we'll see you on the next one.
Absolutely. We'll see it again.
Bye, Dritz.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Tune it in, feel the flow. Chris and Kat, got that glow. Talking skills and chasing dreams. It's more than snakes, it's self-esteem. Vibes up and chatting, stories unraveling. Positivity's the spark, inspiring hearts, leaving marks. Lizards crawling through the past. Tales of triumph built to last. Failures flipped like shedding skin. They remind you how to begin. It's not just reptiles, it's a lifestyle. Vibes up and chatting, stories unraveling.